Hello everybody, this is Sean here at Scout Plays, and welcome to Shapes 2. Game just launched in 1.0 not too long ago. I've already been putting quite a bit of time into the game. Today I wanted to show you guys my Milestones 1 and 2 factories. These are both fairly small factories because they're a very early game. I still figured it'd be pretty fun to show you guys the factories and how I got the shape required. So first we'll go over our Milestone 1 shape. Our Milestone 1 shape is a full blue square and a full red circle. Now, this early in game, we don't have painting unlocked yet, so we have to be a little bit inventive on how we get this final shape right here. So down over here in this lower quadrant, we have this full circle right here, but only 3/4 of the quadrants are red and one is gray. So we have to go through a few processes on here. First, we've got the extractors down, since this is a final output belt of 8 total full belts. I have 2 extractors right here going onto both different layers. And I have a cat wanting to get on my chair with me. Hello, Mufasa. Come here. And once these extractors have pulled these circles out, they come up here, and they go for a half destroyer, leaving us just this this half circle red left. But we have to do the same thing over here, because we have to do this twice. So now we have 2 half red circles coming out on both ends. What then does next is it comes up to my stacking machine right here. It's a little bit finicky, because early game I had very little resources to actually build something as functional as I wanted. So there's a little bit of jumping around here, but it does end up working in the end, because the only minus to this is that one line on each part has to clog before the factory is working completely. Until then, it has a little bit slow before it's catching up to full belts. So the way this works is on the bottom here, it sends in the first layer. And we have the second layer coming in from the top, and it gives us our full red circle. I did accidentally miss one step in there. I did have to put it through a rotator twice to get the half circle oriented the correct direction, one on the bottom, one on the top. But then we have our full red circle coming out, which is then sent up the line over here to another stacker. This is where our blue squares are going to come in. Now the blue squares were a little more of a challenge to get, because we had this shape right here, but only 1/4 of a blue square is all we had. So we had to extract this 4 different times. We had to destroy these 2 shapes here, then rotate the blue to the 4 different quadrants, and then stack everything on top of each other to get a full blue square on the bottom. Come on, kitty, you need to stay still. Alright, so now let me show you guys how this works. So each one gets extracted out, once again on our 8 belt extraction system right here. It's then sent up to a half destroyer, where it destroys the 2 quadrants that we don't want at all. And then for 3, then we had to rotate them different directions also. So then down here we have a square on the bottom right, square on the top right. This one gets rotated again, so it's on the bottom right. Then this one here, I believe yep, there we go. So we just have to do after those 2 times, because then we actually have to do stacker a few times to get this final shape. So it comes up to the stacker here, and it stacks 2 of these 1/4 squares into creating a half total square for us right now. So now we're outputting half of what we want, which is also happening over on this side. Now, as you can tell right here, this blue square half is on the right side, and same on this one, so we had to put it for a rotator twice again, because I didn't have a 180-degree or counterclockwise rotator at the time. Which now puts it on the left side, and this one on the right. It then goes through another stacker here, where it stacks the 2 half blues into a full blue square. So now we have the total shape that we want for the bottom layer. It then goes up to the stacker here, where the red full circle and the blue full square meet. They then, of course, get stacked up right here. Let's drop that layer down. Once again, on the bottom, we have the blues coming in, since that is the bottom shape. red circles coming in on the second layer, going into the stacker so that they get put on top, giving us our final full shape. And then we have 4 belts coming out there and 4 belts coming out there, giving us our 8 full belts of factory, which is then, of course, sent down to our vortex and dropped off here. And we have our... Well, we actually have 2 milestone shapes going in right in this area. We have these 4 belts here. The 4 belts here. Third layer is, of course, empty because I unlocked that later in game. And that is my milestone 1 shape right there in the little tiny 8 belt factory. Now next what we're going to review over is this milestone 2 shape. Which it's a little bit more unique right here, huh? Because on this one now we have 2 quarter squares that are both green, 2 that are gray, and then we have a full blue star on top. And I believe this is where painting is introduced into the game. So we actually do have painters in this part. First we'll go over to squares down here, huh? And how I got the shape. Yeah, I didn't do that over here. Okay, so what we have going on right here is we're extracting the blue gray squares out twice. And the first thing it's going to do is it's actually going to go for our painter right here. And we're extracting paint all the way down here at the fluid extractors. It operates the exact same way as my shapes extractor. Only we have 4 belt there, 4 there. Come all the way down here. And we have my belt painting machine. A couple of these shapes are... Oh, yeah, that's right, because I built it to move like this. That's right. 2 of these lines are... 4 of these lines, I should say, are completely immobilized, because I don't need a full green for everything. And when I put it through this next machine up here, that's what actually puts us to the shape we want. But these are the painters that are actually working. And we have these on 2 different layers. But we paint that lovely full green square. And we put it up here into this machine here. This is our swapper machine. I have the gray squares coming in on the left side, my green squares coming up from the bottom. They come for a swapper here for the hemisphere, so now we have a half red and a half gray. I then come up to this area here, where I put it for a rotator, so they're rotated in opposite directions of each other. They then go through another swapper, so that way we're getting the shape we want. And then one side has to go through a rotator, so that way all shapes are oriented in the exact same direction. And this is happening up here all across the board, but once we use those swappers, and as our gray coming in, it creates these 4 belts, and it turns these 4 belts into 8. So we don't even need to use 2 lines here or down here, which is why half this painting machine just is not operational, because it's just not necessary for this square shape on the bottom to be formed. It is then sent out to its stacker, which is where we have the blue full star coming into play. This is all the way up here. So we have this shape up here. We got half the star that we total want, so we have to create that off this. So once again, we're going into our extraction points right here, which pulls them out. It is then sent through a rotator, because it needs to rotate in the right direction, before it goes up into the half destroyer. That takes out the half that we don't want right there, leaving just the half star, which is then sent up here into a rotator. Same thing is happening over here, but it's being rotated in the opposite direction, so that way I can come up here into the stacking machine, where it starts to create the final shape that we want. We're getting that full star right there. These full stars are then sent up into another painting machine, where it gives us that blue star that we want. It appears there might be something wrong with one of these lines. I might have to come back and investigate this later, because it's leaving a small gap every so often. The rest of the lines are full. That one is having a minor issue for some reason. And that's how we get that blue star. which then of course is taken all the way back to the main area, where it's delivered to the stacking machine. Then just like the previous one, it sends the squares up on the bottom, and the red stars up on the top, stacks on top of each other, and gives us that final shape that we want right there. Because now we have our 2 quarter greens, our 2 quarter grays, and a full blue star, giving us that final 2-layer shape right there. Which is then looped around to the vortex and delivered the exact same way. Minus that one line that's misbehaving. And that, everybody, is how I accomplished getting my first Milestone 1 and 2 factories up and running. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. Helps out a lot. I plan on showcasing more of my factories in the future and also showcasing some of my much larger arrays. As you can tell around the vortex, I've already got train delivery systems in play. There's stuff being delivered from other areas. And I'd be more than happy to showcase that stuff off also. You all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching.